Hey friends, so we are back. I'm recording this video for math for the April 13th math activity day. So I hope you're ready to learn more about shapes. And we're not quite yet doing fractions, but we are going to refer to things as halves or thirds or fourths, which are fractions or can be represented as fractions, but we're going to really show them with shapes. So I'm going to take my Chromebook and I'm going to show you what I have out right now, and then I'll move it back. So I hope you all can see I have my tangram all set up. My pieces are all cut up. We're going to be moving them around, but to make this work, because they're going to obviously, see they're going to slide down. To make this work, I'm going to use my markers, and we are going to go over some shapes and then see if we can split or represent halves within a shape, okay? So first I want to go through the names of our shapes. So I'm going to hold one up and you tell me, what's the name of this shape? So remember, if I ask you, what's the name of this shape? I can also ask you, what's the name of this polygon? A polygon has straight sides. So let's look at this one. What's the name of this shape? It has 3 sides. It is called a triangle. Great. I am going to go to this one. What is the name of this shape? It has 4 sides, they're all straight, and there's actually 4 square corners. So this is a square. Let's go to this one. It's kind of small, hopefully you can see it. I colored it in with orange marker. This one is a triangle, so I'm going to put it in my triangle section. This one is also a triangle. This one is also a triangle, but it's bigger. This one, also a triangle. And this one, I hope you remember from our shapes. It has 4 sides, and it has 2 sets of parallel lines because these lines are parallel, and these set of lines are parallel. So what is this called? A parallelogram. Great. So I'm going to put this over here. So here's what we're going to do now. I want to talk about what it means to represent halves or have something or split something in half. So let's think about, I'm going to move my shapes and I'm going to show you my board, and hopefully this works. Let's see if I can put that there, move my pillow. All right, so let's go ahead and let's draw some shapes. Oops. You know what? Let me do this first before I draw. I am going to take these 2 triangles. Does everyone see? Let me see if I can move it a little bit closer. Does everyone see? Hold on. Oh. Does everyone see that these 2 triangles are the same size? Can you see that? Good. So these are the same size. They are equal in size. If I put them on top of each other to make sure they are the same size, they are. Same size, you can't even see the pink one underneath. What if we wanted to make a bigger shape using these two triangles? Well, I could put it like this. That's kind of confusing because then there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. That's kind of a funky shape, although we could do it. I really want to make a bigger triangle using these two shapes. Are you ready? I'm sorry, I meant a square. Silly me. So, these two triangles, if I put them together, whether I put them this way with the blue on top or pink on top, whether you turn them this way, the blue on my left side and the the pink on my right side, it's still a square, right? And what I mean by square is, look, if I outline the shape without drawing the triangles, look what shape we have. Here's a side. Here's a side. Let's see if I can move this one. Here's a side. And here's a side. Does everyone see? Even though I know you probably say, well, why'd you draw it like that? It looks like a diamond. In the middle of this square, if we turned it, it would be a square. Well, it is a square because it has 4 sides and 4 square corners, and all the sides are equal in length. Here is where our triangles were. Ready? Let me turn it. Does that make more sense? Or is that more clear for you? Now, I had the pink one on this side and the blue one on this side. Can you see that I put a P for pink and B for blue? Good. So, now that this is a square, each side, or this part, which was the pink one, was a triangle. And the blue one was a triangle that each made up a square. These are our parts, and this is our whole. Kind of like number bonds, right? We always have a whole, and we have 2 parts. Now, these 2 parts are called halves. Can everyone say halves? I'm going to write the word halves right here. Spell it with me. Halves. When you have 2 halves right here, they are 2 equal parts that are the same size, and they take up the same amount of space. So let's go over this. We started with our 2 triangles, and those were our 2 parts, or now we know as 2 halves. We have our square, which is our whole, but if we split our square in half, we have 1 triangle here, which is 1 half, and the blue triangle was the other half. And these are our 2 halves. Now, if you're someone that gets really excited about fractions, this will be coming more in 3rd grade, but here is what the fraction for 1/2 looks like. It has a 1 on top, it has a line, and then it has a 2 on the bottom. This is what we call 1/2. So, I don't want you to get focused on that, and I don't want you to worry about that, but I just wanted to throw it out there for the friends who are ready for it. Hold on, let me move my computer to make sure that it's not in the way, so just give me a second. Okay, I think this would be better. Okay, So here's our board. Let me just go over it one more time. We started with our 2 triangles and we made a bigger shape. Now our whole is a square. Our halves are equal in size. They were both triangles, and 2 of them put together make a square. Halves, the definition of halves, if you split something in half, is 2 equal parts of the whole. They are the same size, and they take up the same amount of space. So let's see. Let's see if these are 2 halves. Are these triangles 2 equal parts? Yes. Are these triangles the same size? Yes. Are these triangles, do they take up the same amount of space? Yes, they do. So those are 2 halves. Okay? So I'm going to erase this part up here. Oh, I lost my purple cap. Let me see if I can erase. And we're going to do something else. What about this? Hold on one second. Miss Palmer's going to get I have a piece of paper here. Okay? I'm going to make Now you know what this shape is called. It starts with an R. It is called a rectangle. Good. It has 4 sides, right? They are not all equal in length, so it's not a square, but it does have 4 square corners. Okay, so this is a rectangle. So now we're going to start the other way. We started with a rectangle, and let's see if we can decide where the rectangle's 2 halves are if we split the whole rectangle in half. So here is our whole rectangle, right? I'm going to draw a line with this black marker, and you tell me if you think these 2 are halves. Here would be number 1, and here would be number 2. Can you see those? Did Miss Palmer split this rectangle into 2 equal halves? Is number 1 the same size as number 2? No. I made a big oops. They are not 2 equal parts. They are not the same size. This one is way bigger. And they don't take up the same amount of space. Number 1 is like all spread out, and number 2 is like all, squished. So I'm going to erase it. Let's try again, Miss Palmer. How about this? Now, some of you who do know how to split things in half might be able to show 2 ways how you can show 2 halves or 2 equal parts, okay? And actually, maybe we'll do that down here. Okay, ready? Uh-oh, every time I try to fix something, it gets a little messed up. Thank you for being flexible, friends. Okay, so we're going to focus on rectangle number 1, like we were, and let's see if I can split it in half equally this time. Only look at this one on top. How does that look? Much better? I tried really hard. All right, this one. I'll come back to this. Look at this one. Let's ask ourselves. Do those two parts, are they equal? They look pretty equal, right? Are they the same size? This one's about this long. This one's about this long. Yeah, they look about the same size. Do they take up the same amount of space within the rectangle or the hole? Yes, they do. So I think we're ready to move on for this one. This rectangle is the hole, and within the rectangle are two halves. And within the two halves, what are the shapes of the two parts? The two halves. What shape is this? Kind of looks like a rectangle, right? What about this one? Well, it also must be a rectangle because they're equal. So that is one way we could split a rectangle in half. Let's look at another way. I'm going to try to make it the same size as the one we just did. And now we're on to number 2. Now, we're on to number 2. I am not going to use this same way how to show halves or two equal parts of this rectangle. So I'm going to show you a different way. It's going to be a little tricky. Are you ready? Awesome. So, I'm going to show you another way. This line that I drew for you last time was a vertical line up and down, right? So our next way to split something in half, I'm going to show you a horizontal way. I'm going to use my paper to do so. How does that look? All right, so I'm going to label this 1 part and 2 parts. Let's check them out. I want you to look at them. Now, I know that the top of Miss Palmer's drawing is not perfect, but we're going to imagine that it's a very straight line, okay? All right, awesome. Let's see if these are considered halves. Are these, this part and this part, are they two equal parts? Let's look closely. Yeah, they look pretty good. Even though they look different than this one, that is okay. Because this is even though it's the same shape, I'm showing you another way how to represent halves or split a shape in half. Are these two parts the same size? Yeah, they look the same size. And do they take up the same amount of space? Yeah, it looks great. Now, there is a third way, but we're not going to go into that. But some of you are probably so curious about what the third way is. And maybe if you're interested, you could try on your piece of paper now. Okay? So before this video, before I end it, I'm going to draw 2 more shapes, and I want to see if you can get them. All right, friends. Last 2. Does everyone see that right here I drew a circle and right here I drew a triangle? Well, I want to see if you can split or represent 2 halves within a hole or within a shape. Now, today we're just focusing on halves, right? Which means 2 equal parts that are the same size and take up the same amount of space. So, do you think, let's start with the circle. How would I split this in half? I'm imagining a pizza. If I had a pizza and I wanted to just split it with one other person, even though that's a lot of food, how would I do that? Well, you can really start from the side or the top, but I'm going to start from the top. And I'm going to represent 2 halves in my circle. Wow, this side and this side are now halves. They are 2 equal parts. They are the same size, and they are the same amount of space. Now, if Miss Palmer had this side of pizza and Miss Adamson had the other side of pizza, did we get the same amount? Yes, we did. Very fair. All right, and last one before we go, the triangle. Where should we start? So, sorry, wrong one. Silly me again. So, if we wanted to start with the triangle and we wanted to represent two halves or two equal parts or split it in half, where should we start? I'm going to start from the top because I typically like to start from the top. And let's see if we went down the middle. Oh, and that's another word I really want you to think about, the word middle. If you start from the middle and you draw that line down, if you look at both sides, you have to ask yourself, are they the same, are they equal, and do they take up the same amount of space? So let's start from the tippy top and go all the way down. Straight line. And here's one, and here's two. Let's look at that. Here's my triangle. I put a line through it, through half of it. I split it in half into two halves. Here's one half and here's the other half. Are number 1 and 2, are both of the halves equal parts? Yeah, they look equal. Are they the same size? Yeah, they look the same size. And do they take up the same amount of space? Yes, they take up the same amount of space. So now that we have gone over halves, in our upcoming math lessons, we are going to be doing thirds, which involves 3 parts, and fourths, or sometimes we call quarters, into 4 equal parts. But we're just going to stop for today, and we're going to do halves, okay? And remember, halves are how many equal parts? Say it. 2 equal parts. Great, friends. We really hope you're enjoying this learning. And even the symbol for fractions, 1 on top with the line, and we would say 1/2. That's the symbol for 1/2. So on Seesaw, once I tell you to go, you're going to show us halves or 2 equal parts. Okay? Friends, you are doing great. Keep on working. If you have any questions, reach out. All right, good luck.